Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing? Today we're going to be playing with the new Pat McGrath Bridgerton collection. I just picked up the eyeshadow palette and the face palette, and honestly it wasn't even about it being Pat McGrath per se, although I have been enjoying her eyeshadow quality. It wasn't even about it being Bridgerton, it was just about the packaging. Like, I just think that the light blues and the purples and like the vintagey feel is just so pretty. So honestly, that's what suckered me into this. But I'm really excited to try it out with y'all today. And I was thinking that we could go ahead and do swatches of everything. And then I'm going to do 2 different looks so that you can see all the face products in action, see 2 different looks with the eyeshadow palette, and hopefully it'll either help you decide if you want this or maybe give you some inspiration to shop your stash for some similar shades and see what you can pull together. So let's just go ahead and jump on in. So let's start off with the face palette. Here's the outer packaging. And then the 3 shades that are in here are already existing in her line. I already own one of her single blushes, but it's none of these, so I didn't have any repeats, thankfully. So here's what it looks like on the inside. There's a super cool tone pink blush, more of like, it almost looks like slightly sheeny, like peachy neutral shade. And then there's also a highlighter, which I'm not sure if this is gonna work for me. I might use it as like a blush topper. I saw a swatch video of this and I thought it looked darker and it looked more pink. So I was like, oh, that'll work as a blush for me. But I don't know, it might work as a highlight. I think we just have to go ahead and swatch it. First we have Cherish, which like I said is a super bright cool tone pink, which is actually nice to have in here because I don't know that I have a blush in that shade. And then Nymphette, which looks like such a beautiful neutral. It almost has like a sheeny mauviness to it. It's so pretty. And then this highlight is called Venus Nectar, which it feels super smooth. It's kind of like a peachy golden shade, but the texture just looks really pretty and like thin. Like, I just think it's gonna look so wet and glowy on the cheeks. And it doesn't look too deep of a base. So I think fingers crossed that I'll be able to make it work. So there's what they look like. Swatch that on my hand. I mean, this never does face products justice, but see, it looks so much deeper on my hand and it looks very orangey. So I don't know. So there's what those look like up close. Okay, so next we have the eyeshadow palette. Just so cute. And then it's kind of just a pinky mauvey color story with that pop of blue, which I mean, it's pretty impossible to not notice because look at how it's stealing the show. Oh, I wanted to say too that the packaging on these, even though it is cardboard, it feels so sturdy. Like, it feels like super thick cardboard. The magnet is super strong, so it does feel nice. So the first shade we have here is kind of like a satiny, just pale shade. It's funny because as I'm like digging my finger into it, it looks a little bit lighter. I feel like I could use that as a highlighter, use it on the inner corner, under the brow. Just seems like a pretty easy shade to have. And then next we have a pink. I want to say this kind of looks like it's supposed to be a matte, but it has a slight sheen to it. You can see, but it's like very subtle. So I think I would still use that in my crease. And then we've got this shade, which is just so beautiful. It's kind of like a blue, slight purple shifting, just super intense special shade. I mean, obviously I have to put that all over my lid. That's why I wanted to do 2 looks today, because I feel like every video that I've seen, it's been all about this. So I want to have that moment too, but I want to do a second look that's a little bit more just like focused on the pinks. Oh, it's so pretty. Next we have like a mauvey, kind of plummy matte brown, which looks pretty, feels super smooth, and the imprints in here are so cute. And then we've got a really beautiful kind of like pewtery metallic shade. I really like that one. I feel like those 2 shades together, instant perfection. And then lastly, we have another one of like, it looks like it's almost a matte, but it has like a tiny bit of a sheen to it. And that one's a bit more of like a berry pink. Oh yeah, that metallic is super pretty. Definitely have to do with the look with that. So there's what we're working with. I think it's a super cute little palette. I know I saw a lot of complaints that this has been done before by Pat McGrath, and I mean, I can see that with like the pinky mauvey tones, but I personally don't own that much from her. So for me, this is something different, and I feel like if you like Bridgerton, if you haven't tried Pat McGrath before, then this is a nice way to do a smaller palette and still get a super special shade, because that one's just stunning. And there is a little close-up for y'all. All right, so for this first look, I'm gonna start off with this matte right here, and I'm gonna use it in a few different ways because I think that's gonna be the only matte I'm using in this look. So I'm gonna start off with a decently fluffy little brush and just throw that through my crease, being very, very light with it. Kind of just getting it down and then blending the edge. I feel like this first look, I want to do something extremely simple, but I have a feeling it's going to turn out really pretty. Oh, and I did already prime my eyes with the Anastasia eyeshadow primer. So you can see I pretty much did like a sheer layer of that, but now I'm going to go into a brush that's a little bit more dense, and I'm just going to start that off in my outer V, but mostly just really pack it through my entire crease. You can see how much more pigmented it looks now, but that's just because I'm using a different brush. Okay, I'm going back in with my previous brush and just going over the edge. Once I have it as deep as I want it to go, just making sure everything's nice and soft. Okay, I'm just gonna go in with that shade one more time, this time using a small pencil brush, and I'm going to throw that along the entire lower lash line. So now it is all about the special shade. I really want to put that on my inner corner and then have it going all the way up on my lid as well and just have this full moment, but I think I'm gonna try and use that with a glitter primer today. I'm gonna go into the NYX glitter primer. So just gonna pick up a decent amount of that, and I guess I'm doing like a faux cut crease, but I'm not too worried about it being perfect. Just kind of starting most of the glue off on the inner corner, working its way over, and then also popping some right here. And then you just want to wait, give it a second to start getting tacky. I'm so excited for this. So the nice thing is, like, I used the same brush that I used for the glitter primer, so now like picking it up, you can see nothing's falling off. The shade's sticking really, really well, even though it is a little bit more of like a dry, sparkly formula. So yeah, just gonna place it down. Oh, it's so pretty. Oops, I actually went a little bit too high. And then lastly, taking a little bit more and just wrapping that around the inner corner. I'm not even gonna beat around the bush. I feel like that is one of the prettiest shadows I've ever put on my lid. It's just so sparkly. I feel like one thing I've noticed with Pat McGrath's special formula versus other indie shadows is that it's kind of like a give and a take, because it is extremely sparkly. I will give it that. But I feel like there are indie brands that give a very similar look, and they might be a tad less sparkly, but they don't have such a mess. I feel like with the special shades from Pat McGrath, I can kind of expect to have glitter like a little bit on my face, have some extra glitter in my crease, because it's so sparkly and it's kind of a bit of a drier formula. So it's just what comes along with it. Just gonna go ahead and do the same thing on this eye. It's just, oh my goodness. I really want to go in with a pastel blue because I think it'll be just so pretty in the waterline. So I'm gonna take the LA Girl powder blue liner and throw that on. I'm also really quickly off camera just going to throw on the Makeup Geek Extension Effect Mascara. So for blush to go along with this look, I'm going to use the middle, more neutral shade. Just going to throw that on. This isn't going to make sense because I bought this palette, but the blush that I have from Pat McGrath I think is nice, but I don't know that I can like agree with all the hype on her blushes or like justify like buying more singles. I got this because it was a set of 3 and I really like the packaging and I thought it was cute together, but I don't know, I feel like it's just, every time I apply it I'm like, okay, like it's blush. It doesn't really do anything super spectacular for me. I think I'm gonna hold off and do this highlighter in my second look, And for now, I'm gonna try this light pink one right here as highlight. In fact, I'm probably just gonna grab it on the very tip of my blush brush and just put that right here. Yeah, I think that looks pretty. I mean, it's a very, very natural, like satiny kind of glow. And can't forget a little bit on the nose. For my lips, I'm gonna start off with the We Makeup Even Lip Pencil in the shade 02 Marseille Nude. I'm just feeling a little bit more of a defined lip today. Okay, so I like halfway filled in my lips with that, and I'm trying to decide what lipstick to do. I think I'm gonna take this Sigma Cinderella Dreamy liquid lipstick. I don't know, I'm feeling like maybe it'll go. All right, so this is the finished first look. I mean, you guys already kind of know I'm definitely feeling this. I think the eyes turned out so pretty, and it's pretty cool that it's only 2 eyeshadows, but it still turned out into a really interesting look. So let's go ahead and jump on into the second one. All right, y'all, so jumping on into the second look, we're gonna go ahead and start off with the eyeshadow palette. I already primed my eyes with the Anastasia primer again, and the first shade I'm gonna use is this like satiny soft pink right here. I actually was just thinking I have these Sigma and Cinderella brushes, and I feel like the aesthetic goes together so well. All right, so just starting that off through my crease. I just picked up a tiny, tiny little bit. Okay, I'm gonna go with a little bit more. So that shade is definitely showing up pretty sheer with this brush, so I'm gonna grab something a little bit more dense in a moment. So I grabbed more of that, just going right into my crease. I'm kind of not loving this shade. I feel like I could make it work as a matte, but it's just kind of very sheer and just not very impactful. Even just built up, it's not doing anything super special. I think now I'm gonna go ahead and go into the deeper pink satin. See if this gives a little more va-va-voom. I'm gonna start it off in my outer V and bring it through my crease. Not really loving this formula because I feel like it's just not pigmented enough to really do that much. Like, it's just not giving me what I desire, and it's also just not metallic enough to use all over the lid, not personally how I would want to. It's just kind of strange. Not very versatile, I guess I would say. I feel like my ring light keeps going in and out, and I don't know what's happening. I don't know if my light is finally like meeting the end of its life, because I've had it for so many years. I'm like, now is not a great time to decide that it wants to do that. So hopefully it's not showing up in the video too much. I'm also taking that deeper pink on a pencil brush, and I'm just gonna line it along my entire lower lash line. I think I'm gonna go into the deepest matte here, that like chocolatey brown. Just using that same dense brush, and I'm gonna throw that in my outer V just to kind of see how that looks in the mix. I mean, it looks okay, but it's not doing that much. It's still staying pretty soft. I feel like I can't even focus on my eyeshadow because the light is driving me crazy. So the light just died on me. I guess I could turn the brightness up right here a little bit, but hopefully it's not too terrible for the rest of the video. This is kind of what it's gonna look like. I've still got lights all around me in different directions. I was not expecting that to happen today, but we're already so far along. It doesn't look too bad on my monitor, so let me know what you think. Is this the new lighting setup? It is for today's video. So anyways, I'm gonna grab this satiny shade right here now and just pop that on the inner corner. Add a bit of a highlight. I'm also gonna pop just a little bit of that shade underneath my brow bone. So before we go into the lid shade, I kind of wanna incorporate the really special blue shade on the lower lash line. I was thinking of just popping a little bit of it right here and maybe spraying it just to help it stick a little bit better. All right, so just popping that right here. Oh, that's so pretty over the pink. So kind of just focusing most of the pigment in the front and then just blending it into the rest. I guess I'm like second thinking what I said about the pink shade before, because I think that putting one of the pinks all over the lid and then layering this is special shade over top of it would actually be so, so pretty. Now for the lid, I'm gonna go into this metallic shade. So I think I'm gonna try it dry first just to see, and then we can wet it. I'm just gonna pop that all over the lid. I mean, that looks stunning immediately. Like, it just has such a pretty shine to it. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. All right, I'm gonna try it wet on the other eye. Oh, that's even more pretty. Oh my goodness. I feel like the difference between it wet and dry isn't even that obvious. Like, this just looks a little bit more foiled, but either way, especially for applying that with a brush, I think it's a really pretty shade. I'm feeling a pop of purple in my waterline to go with this look, so I'm gonna take the Ardency and Deep Purple liner. I feel like dark purple is a color that a lot of people associate with being regal, and it just kind of goes along with this look and the palette packaging. And I'm just doing a coat of the Makeup Geek mascara. Okay, so let's jump back into the face palette. I'm gonna start off with that really beautiful bright pink, just super, super pigmented. So let's go ahead and go with a little bit, just kind of throw it on. I feel like this one definitely goes well with the eye look. I mean, it blended in really nice. Now we're gonna go into the highlighter. I'm just gonna use it on the same brush. Ooh, picked up a lot. Okay, and just kind of put that a little bit. Ooh. I was gonna put it a little higher on the cheekbones, but you can see it's very bronzy on my cheeks, okay? Just kind of blend that over the pink. Yeah, I mean, as I suspected, that one is definitely gonna be more of a blush topper for me. And I do think it's pretty. It adds like a really nice glow to the blush, makes it a little bit more neutral. I think I'm gonna go back into the eye palette and use that shade we used yesterday for highlighter. This one, just throw a little bit on the tops of my cheekbones. I don't know, that's really doing anything for me on top of everything else. I want to keep the lips super simple today, so I'm going to go into the Sigma Renew Lip Oil in the shade All Heart. So this is the finished second look, and I do really like how it turned out overall. I feel like it's a very, very easy, everyday, like mauve-y, pinky look. I have slightly mixed feelings about the palettes. I think that everything is like decent quality, but I don't know that either of the two palettes are going to be absolute favorites. So for the eyeshadow palette, I really, really like the satin shade right here. I really like this metallic. This special shade is definitely the star of the show. It is absolutely stunning. Even today, just popped on the lower lash line. It's beautiful. I could see reaching back into this palette so much for that one shade specifically. Especially, I want to pull that into the Subliminal palette. I think that will be beautiful. But I also really, really like this matte right here. Again, I feel like it's in a great tone, blended so beautifully. I like it in today's look. I liked it in yesterday's look. But I feel like these two like satiny, like in between shades, it's not that I can't use them. I just feel like they're just not that special. They just didn't make my heart beat faster. Like, they were just kind of like a little just there. So because this palette is only 6 shades and because it is pretty expensive, that definitely takes away from how much I like it. Like I said, I do like it, but I just don't know that it'll end up being a favorite. But the packaging is stunning. I feel like that is like, as soon as this video is over, it's going in the drawer behind me so that it can be on display. And then as far as the face palette goes, I mean, I guess kind of similar. I think that everything in here is beautiful, but it's just not like anything super, super special. I think the 2 blush shades are really nice. I will use this as a blush topper. I feel like if the highlighter was a different tone, I would like it more. It doesn't necessarily have to be a highlight on my skin tone, but I think just because it pulls kind of bronzy, it doesn't really go with the other 2 blushes in here. So I'll try to get the best use out of it as I can. And I mean, as far as like the value of getting the face palette, I don't think it's bad compared to buying the blushes individually. And I do like the blushes. I just don't know that I'm in love with the blush formula. I guess I would say I don't regret my purchase, mostly because I will use the blushes. I really really, really love the special shadow, and I think the packaging is just so, so, so beautiful. I hope you enjoyed seeing 2 different looks with the collection. If you'd like me to do more videos kind of in this format in the future, feel free to let me know down below. Also, I know so many of y'all have been like, we want to see the kitty, we want to see the kitty, because you've heard her in the background of some videos, and I just do not plan to be the YouTuber who's constantly talking about their pet, but she is a doll. Her name is Athena, and she's sleeping on my lap right now, so I'm just gonna hold her up. This is Athena. I feel like literally like 3 weeks ago she was fitting in just one of my hands. She's growing so fast. But she is a princess. Okay, that's enough. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.